Greetings and salutations. Hello, y'all. Long time no see. I feel like the last time I sat down and actually recorded a YouTube video for my personal channel, or like even just really even talk to my Instagram story, I was still in law school. Like, I haven't given the girlies, the gays, the friends, the bookies a life update. Like, if I haven't talked to you or you haven't seen me in real life in person, you don't know. Even if you have, I probably haven't given you the whole rundown. So that's what we're gonna do today so that the rest of my content makes sense and it's like in context. So let's get into it. So boom. Last time we checked in, probably let's just actually back it up and start it all the way from me getting ready to go to law school because that's the last time I filmed a real YouTube video. I was at my grandma's house. It was the summer after graduating from college from the Tennessee State University, child, and I was going to law school. My life's dream since I was like 6 years old, I was like, I'm gonna be a lawyer, honey. Like, yes, put me in the courtroom. Got into the Howard University School of Law. So we're gonna speed through it. I did the things. Moved to DC, went to Howard Law. Yes, it was during the pandemic. Boo, very trash, but also still like hella fun. I met so many amazing people who are now like some of my closest friends, damn near like family, who I love down. I love the city of DC. That's really like my second home. Like, that's my city. I ran those DC streets, girls. Yeah, graduated from law school. Woo! She got her JD bookies at 23 at that. Okay, mild flex. I had a job already lined up after graduation, but y'all, why was this job in Seattle, Washington? Ask me, had I ever been to Seattle, Washington before this job? No. Baby, I had only seen Seattle on Grey's Anatomy. I ain't know nothing about no Seattle, Washington. But I said, okay, they're doing the kind of work that thought I wanted to do. Plaintiff side work. They were gonna pay my student loans, y'all. And it just was a good salary, 6 figures straight out the gate. I said, period, Bookie, I don't care where the hell it is. I'm packing my bags and I'm taking my black ass across the country. So that's what I did, y'all. Finished up the summer in DC, moved all the way to Seattle. Now, there's a lot of tea that happened in that little window of me getting scammed twice while I was looking for apartments in Seattle, losing out on $6,000. That'll be a story time for another day. Um, so yeah, long story short, it's set in the scene October of 2022. Nia Senior pops up in Seattle. She gets her apartment. She starts her job. She is an adult girl. I'm real grown. Um, Long story short, I hated it. I hated the job. I hated the city. I hated how far away I was. I went from living this amazing life was great. It was fun. I had all of my friends. I was living in a city that I loved. There was always something to do. I was going out literally damn near Wednesday through Sunday. Like, I was having the time of my life to going to being isolated all the way across the country at a job I hated, where I was the only black person, not the only black girl, not the only black young person, the only black person. Only other person of color was the mixed guy who worked at the front desk. It was awful, y'all. I can go all day about how much I didn't enjoy it. And there were so many things that transpired while I was in that job that had to do with racism, sexism, um, just issues that I dealt with. And so, on top of being in a city, being lonely, being just overall miserable, it was expensive as hell. But that's not the point. We're just giving a quick life update. If y'all want to know more, just tell me in the comments and I will give an in depth of everything that happened at my job, the city, why I didn't like it, the stuff I did like, the whole shebang. We can get into the nitty gritty of it another time. So now I've been at this job since October. It is now end of March. Had to take the bar exam out there. Terrible news. Didn't pass the Washington bar exam. So I'm like, okay, I'm stressed out while I'm out there. I already hate being here. What the fuck am I gonna do? Are they gonna fire me? Is like everything that's going through my brain. So I let them know. And thank God they're like, no, we're not gonna fire you. You've done great work. We love having you here. Woo woo woo. So I'm like, all right, bet, peace. Like, whew, I can breathe again. But I'm like, oh, I have to take the bar again, which is very stressful if you don't know. Hardest exam ever. And so this is end of March, early April. Then I get the news in the first week, toward the end of the first week of April, that my father, who I am extremely estranged from, I haven't spoken to in at this time now 4 years, haven't seen in person in 4 years, literally since the day I left for law school. Haven't sent a text, Facebook message, nothing, literally blocked. Um, was sick and was experiencing liver failure and ultimately was going to pass away. Um, this was a lot to deal with. Like I just told you, I found out that I didn't pass the bar. I'm already miserable. I'm living literally across the country from all of my friends, all of my family, and now someone who is still my parent, but I have, a rocky relationship with an estranged one at this point, no contact. I'm now having to deal with the fact that they're basically facing death. And so then April 18th comes and my father does pass away. And so I am on the first flight to Alabama to come back home. And kind of from there, my life just drastically took a turn from where it was going. As I just told y'all, I was going to have to retake the bar. I was going to stay at my job. I was going to try and figure out what it was in Seattle to make it work, at least for another year or whatever, just to make it through. But now I'm like, fucking knocked over with this news that my father said, come home. Funeral, I stay. We're doing all of the getting the affairs in order. I'm the oldest daughter, the oldest living sibling. My brother is already deceased, and so that means I'm in charge of all of estates and all the affairs and everything because my parents were divorced. So it just was a lot going on, and so at this time, COVID is still going on a little bit, even though it's 2023. And I'm like, hey, I reach out to my job. I'm like, hey, I cannot come back to Seattle in the mental state that I'm in right now. Like, I just simply can't. I have other, loose ends stuff to figure out, with my father's passing. And I said, am I able to, work remotely for the time being? I know that you guys want me to take the bar. I can do that. I can study and I can just come back once the summer is over and be back in the office because I'm like, this is reasonable. I'm hella young. We already work on a hybrid schedule at my firm at this time. And baby, the partners was never in the office. It was just like I could do my job remotely. All of the cases that I were working mostly with one of the partners that was international. So it wasn't like I was even working on their time schedule or in their time zone. And they told me no. They said, no, you need to come back and you need to be in the office. Um, yeah, that we're going to require that of you. And so I was then faced with the really hard decision of, am I going to go back to Seattle, back to this firm, back to this place, back to that state of being miserable when I'm even more mentally unwell, trying to deal with grief and figure all of this out, or like, what's the option? And so ultimately, I decided to quit. Um, it was a hard decision. I kept going back and forth. I'm like, I told y'all, I just said they were going to pay my student loans. Like, coming out of law school, y'all, is not cheap. And I don't come for money. So that was huge. So like for them to pay my loans, to be making a good salary, I'm at this time not even 25 yet. I feel like I had accomplished all the things that I had set out to do in life and that I had really made, like made it. And now all of that success was like basically crumbling and I just honestly chose to walk away from it for my mental health. And to say it was a hard decision is really an understatement. And I'm really just thankful that at that time, my godmom, who has been in my life forever, who also is an attorney, is a magistrate judge. So she completely understands. And she had recently lost her mom, who she was estranged from. Just simply told me, she said, Nia, you need to go home. And that's just what she said. She said, you need to go home. She said, what you're about to go through, you're not going to be able to do alone. You're not going to be able to do in Seattle. You're not going to be at your best. You need to go home. And I took her advice. And so that's what I did. So after my birthday is when I quit my job. So June 2023. And I've been home in Alabama ever since. Went to Seattle, moved all my stuff out at the end of the summer. And I never looked back, honestly. And to be honest, it's been the best decision that I've ever made. I'm someone who has worked so hard on my life to be quote unquote successful, to reach this goal that I had of becoming a lawyer or whatever, this arbitrary definition of a success that I had. And I had never taken a break. I literally graduated college in 3 years like a fucking maniac. I then go straight to law school, don't take a break, finish law school in the middle of the pandemic and graduate at 23, take a big girl job, move across the country. It's like, when was there supposed to be a break? When was there a chance for life? When was there a chance for mental health? When was there a chance for growth? And so I've just taken this time since I've been at home to really do that. And also, it's just has been a big help to my mom. Like I said, my parents were already divorced, but I have, if you don't know, my youngest sister who's still a minor, who's now dealing with the loss of a parent. Um, and just being able to be here for my family, but also for them to be able to be there for me. Like I said, I was in a state of isolation, ultimate depression, and now I'm going through the stages of grief. Even though me and my father were estranged, it's still, someone that is your parent passing away is gonna affect you, even if you don't think it is. And it definitely affected me more than I thought it would. And so, yeah, I just spent the last year really going to therapy. Shout out to my therapist, Miss Dolores. That's my bitch. Like, she didn't hold me down. She holds me accountable now, but she holds me down, and she's really getting me together. And I couldn't have made it through sitting here talking to y'all. It's March, almost a year, without her. And so I'm sure y'all, you're like, what are you doing for work? Your lawyer, did you take the bar? All these questions. And the question is, I'm still trying to figure all that stuff out. But as of now, no, I just took a year, honestly, of rest, recuperation, mental health, to be with my family, to work on myself, to figure out what are the things that I really want in life, what is success to me, and just making sure that I'm well before I re-enter in the workforce. And I'm very grateful that my mom is in a position, in a place to provide that for me, a place where I could stay for free, a safe place, with room for me to be here. Um, yeah, so I'm really just grateful for this time, and I'm still trying to figure it out, y'all. I mean, I am 25, and I can't believe as a kid I'm like, oh, at 25, y'all, I'm gonna be so grown. I'm gonna have everything together. I'm gonna be in my career, girl bossing it up, on my way to getting engaged, having a family. Woo, 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 woo. And now, baby, I'm 25, living at my mama house, rent free, ain't got no real job, living carefree. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. Well, guys, now that you're up to date, you know that I'm back home at my mama's house at 25 with no job, just trying to figure out what my next steps are. You can come on this content journey with me, and everything will make more sense. Toodles.